I like to know.
I know,
I can tell the potatoes so little.
it's not on you.
Seems like, oh, no. Yeah.
Okay, we're now moving to.
Do we have a councilwoman while we're on?
Yes, she is present.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, we're back together again. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. We'll go ahead and start our meeting with a moment of silence. And if we can all stand for the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we'll remind everybody to make sure that their phones are on silent.
Councilmember Clark. Here. Reid. Here. Jackson.
Here.
Lawler.
Here, Albion, Michigan.
Lenn.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. All right, do I have, well, I do want to make a motion to table the application for Andy Zblewski from tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
With that change, right?
Yes, with that change.
Support.
Thank you, Councilman Lawler.
Welcome.
Are we all good on that? Okay, so. Secretary Domingo, if you can take a roll call on that.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Reid. Yes. Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Lenn.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So we don't have any presentations, correct? Public hearing, no. All right. Jesse, do we have anybody on for public comments? One side, yes.
Before we get everything started, could we have a moment of silence for one again who passed away today, who was a long time serving member for precinct?
Yes, thank you. Okay. We are going to observe a moment of silence for former councilman, Brian Getz. Okay. Jesse, do we have any?
It looks like Garrett Brown has his hand raised.
Okay. Eric, if you can state your name and your home address, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Garrett.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Garrett. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Garrett Brown, 1016 South Superior Street, Albion. I just wanted to comment on the discussion regarding Mrs. Irene Gamble and the honorary street. Just a suggestion. I know there was mention in the packet about renaming her home street or where her residence was. I would respectfully urge the council maybe to consider the street or the intersection right where her barber shop is as another location for an honorary designation. I know that the city has done this for Tillman Cornelius. It's done it for Mr. Gant. So I think it's appropriate, but I just would suggest maybe considering that street as well where her barber shop is located. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Jesse?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to move to closed session?
Support.
You got any to go on it?
Councilmember Reid,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
I've never done closed session while on Zoom, so I'm just trying to clarify, shall I
I would,
mute or how should I proceed with the closed session?
if everyone's okay, I would suggest that we would do how we normally do for closed session and go down to the mayor's office, and then you can leave the recording live, and then we will return back to us.
Okay.
Councilman
Hello?
Paul,
Oh, am I gonna be able to attend or no?
we will call you, so you can join in.
We came over here.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to see you again.
You should.
I love it.
Start that.
Okay, so we are, Jessica, you back?
Yep, there, now, Waller, there she is.
Okay. So we're back at 7:34. We have a motion to approve of the consent item, the consent calendar items.
Excuse me, Mayor, we technically need a motion to reopen
Oh.
open session.
Sorry. We have a motion to reopen session.
Support.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reid, Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Okay, so we're back at 7:34. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items?
Support.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid, and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. We have a motion to approve the committee appointment for Lenn, Reid on the Recreation Advisory Commission. Any questions? All right. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid, Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. We have a motion to approve the 2021-22 council goal.
Support.
Okay, Manager Snyder, you want to speak on this?
Yes, ma'am. So after the March 31st study session, I took back the 7 buckets and goals that were identified by council. We then met as a group of my department heads and kind of went through all of the projects and then broke them down by department. So you will see each of the 7 buckets are identified in bold, and within them are individual goals that we have identified to help us move forward to improve in each of the areas or buckets. They are broken down by immediate, short-term, or long-term, and ongoing. Happy to answer any questions?
Yes, Councilman Williamson.
So I want to say thank you to the team at City Hall, especially the Manager Snyder. While not exactly how I envisioned it to look on paper, it answered all the questions I thought we had asked to be done. Putting timeframes on each of these items individually, with kind of target goals of 3, 6, 12 months and ongoing. I appreciate this roadmap. It's going to be very helpful as we move forward over the next year in City Manager Snyder's evaluation, but I'm certain this will be a guiding document for her as she leads her team. So, and I also want to say thank you to council, because I think this work session that we did in March on this particular topic was one of the most productive things I've seen City Council do in Albion in a long time. And I feel strongly that I can just take these 2 pages when someone says to me in my precinct or when I'm out, I can say, okay, well, let me tell you what we're working on here at City Council, and here's where we can expect some changes. And then when complaints and issues come up, we can rework this and make changes as we go. So I am very excited about these goals. I'm very excited about achieving some deliverables this year, and I'm excited this council will be able to do that. I yield.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, do you have comment or question?
Yeah, the comment, I mean, there's a question and kind of comment is that I don't recall some of the things and how they are on here. I know you said you guys are going to go back and take things and prior again, but like basically what individuals or whoever was going to work on these, but and I get what Shane is saying also, how easy it is to read and be able to tell other people that when they follow this stuff, and I kind of wanted to know if it was just me or.
No, both of these were all taken directly from the forms that you were filled out during the study session, as well as individual projects that the department heads have identified within their department that could help move the city forward to improve the 7 buckets that have been identified or areas of focus by council. But nothing was removed from any of the sheets that were put up in the study session.
Councilwoman Reid?
Okay. I just want to know if these have to, I mean, when we vote on this, are we setting this in stone? Because I'm looking down here under ordinances to where you got determine funding programs to address blighted structures as long-term.
Yeah, so long-term would be 12+ months, but within that, all of the departments were actively working to improve the areas or ordinances that have that we currently have in place.
Okay, because I think that's something that you just really need to work on pretty soon. And hiring a full-time assistant for planning and zoning, and I would like to see a full-time person on writing grants. Because if we're going to do something and we need more money than what the city has. That's why, and I'm looking at that as long term.
Well, it's a long term because there are not funds available in the current budget to have an additional staff member within that department. Currently, we have one individual who handles all areas within our zoning, planning, and building department. So that is a high priority of us to identify additional funds so that we can bring additional staff on board to assist Director Arnold with the tasks that within his department.
And if I may add something to what Councilwoman Reid's point is, for the under the grant and resource development on the last page, so that is under S, so that should be something that we could have information on within 6 months or less. So kind of going with what you're concerned about, maybe we can put this on the agenda quarterly so that we can get updates to certain items.
With that, grants obviously are a priority of the council. All of the departments are aware of that. And with that, each department is going to be working to identify goal grants that can assist their department to achieve the projects or priorities within there. So it is a priority of everyone. With that, there are funds within our budget to bring on who are a full-time grant writer. So I am looking to strengthen the staff that I do have on board and help them build their grant writing skills and abilities so that we all are able to apply for and seek some of these grant funds that are out there.
Okay, because this is,
Yes,
So I'm
Councilwoman.
wondering why can't that be a priority in your, whatever search for, if you're trying to bring another person on, why can't that be a part of the job criteria?
It absolutely definitely can.
Because that can take care of itself if you're looking for someone to help in a specific department and bring somebody in with great skills, then you don't have to worry about the training process so much if they've already done and know how to do it.
I was just gonna say, so I guess we would have to wait to have a need to fill a vacancy that would appropriately align with somebody who would have that skill and experience. Councilwoman Clark.
Because
I'm
I,
sorry, Reid.
that's okay. Because, there's something later on in the meeting whenever I get to my turn to talk about, because I think at the time that we were talking about this, I said there's 21 houses in my precinct that are blighted structure. And as I was riding around Albion a while earlier, later last week, I began to see houses. I don't usually go looking for stuff in other people's precincts, but I look in mine. But I just happened to be, and there's more blighted houses. And being on the land bank board, I gave Ian some information from Krista about what they do in Battle Creek with the blighted houses. And they're saying that it's beginning to help because people can't just let their houses sit like that. They have to eat it, and these have up to code. If you got it up to code, you don't need to rent it or live in it or something. You're not just gonna let it sit there up to code because you put money in it to get there. So I think we need to get busy on this because Albion is really beginning to look bad with all these raggedy houses sitting around because you got the raggedy house, then you got the tree that falls down behind the raggedy house, then you got all the Russian shrub that blows up on this side of the raggedy house. And they just got a big mess.
And with this, it's just a general timeframe that we've come up with, so, amongst my team. Some of these projects may be achieved before, the time that has been identified. I can say with that, we have set up with myself and Director Arnold, a monthly meetings with the land bank to start addressing these issues. So there is, background work happening to, make sure that these things are changed.
Okay, I just don't want some stuff.
So you want to.
Yeah, she's had her hand up for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Lawler.
She dropped out.
Oh, yeah. And then Councilwoman Williamson did have his hand up, and Councilwoman, no, you're good, okay. Councilwoman.
I was wondering if, okay, I just lost my train of thought, so it's gotta come home back in. That's what we're talking about. Good one way. I'm so sorry.
That's Councilwoman.
So I also want to thank you, City Manager Snyder, for taking time. I know you're inundated with work, as are all of our city staff, so I really appreciate this being prioritized and brought back to us so promptly. I think if I'm hearing my fellow council members correctly, that this is an ongoing conversation where some of the timelines and specific elements probably could, continue to be brought up. So I would love to see this be, every other meeting, so, we're checking off things and getting updates and sharing what we hear. Something that I wanted to see, and I thought we talked about during the session, was related to our board recruitment, specifically the Racial Equity Task Force and, the Arts and Culture, Recreation commissions. And so that recruitment of residents to be engaged in the available seats right now, I think is vital to our communication, building trust, several goals that are on here. So that's just one thing that I really wanted to make sure that we continue to keep on our radar until all of those are fully functioning, coming to us with recommendations. With regard to the grant writing, I just received an email from CEDM, the Community Economic Development Association of Michigan, that there will be a free 2 days of workshops, free workshops. They never have free workshops. And it's for grant writing, is specifically building capacity when in our situation, we don't have a grant writer and we need to figure out how to weave that into, as many different roles as possible. So I will make sure when they have the registration that all of us get that. So if we can be there, we can get that information. And then the last thing I would love, since you had your department heads come in, if we could see this by department, because I think that would help me understand who's doing this and kind of just understand it from a different perspective. And yeah, I just really appreciate all of this work.
And if I may, Councilmember Lenn, the recruitment is under, the word recruitment's left out. It's create and implement formal recruitment and onboarding process for boards and commissions. So that's an immediate need, and working, my office is working with City Clerk Domingo to get that. She actually already has it put together and ready to go.
Yes, Councilwoman Clark.
So I think this would be helpful for Haley as well as all of us, where we have the three, the EDC, the other two, that they should start reporting to us also quarterly, because there's too often that, for instance, the gentleman that's here tonight that's going to present, we started this, we started about 2 years ago. And this is the first time we've heard, from what has started. I think just for the purpose of transparency, and so when we talk to the city, people in the city, of what we're doing and stuff, it would be helpful. So one thing, it'll keep the person on the ball and keep them on track and keep them moving, and then it'll keep the city moving.
Absolutely. Do we have Councilman Lawler back on yet?
No.
No, okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? Yes, Councilman Lenn.
Thank you, Mayor Center. And maybe I'm not saying it, but, in terms of public infrastructure, I feel like the overlap with code enforcement is really heavy. But I'm not sure if I see anything related to tree removal and street sweeping. That's something I'm continually hearing the need for. And I know with the American Rescue Plan that we have money and the potential to perhaps if that qualifies to address some of those needs. So just wanted to make sure that is also something we discuss and ensure is a priority if we all agree. So that was the street sweeping and the tree removal.
Councilman Lawler, so you're back with us. If you have a question or a comment on this, we're still on the conversation of our goals and objectives.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to say, I think it was a good idea that our city manager was saying, as if I heard it correctly, that she was going to try to get everyone educated in each department for some grant writing. If that's what she said, I just wanted to let her know that I think that's a good idea.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I really don't have time to do that, so we still need a grant writer. I'm sorry.
Councilwoman.
I really do hear you, and I think when I see develop a plan for grant writing, to me, that equates, make sure we have a designated grant writer. But I do want to just, pay respect to what the city is juggling, and I think the more we can understand that and the public can understand that, the quicker we have the capacity to have a designated grant writer or someone who's actively searching and writing grants. That's my prayer.
I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but a lot of times, I work on Howland Park and I'm working on other things, and sometimes I'm up to 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning researching and trying to find the best stuff and everything. And I don't have time to add grant writing into what I'm doing. Once I research and I find and I figure out and I get the lowest price or I get the best product or something, it's taking me forever. And then all the rest is that you have to do it. Albion needs a grant writer.
Yes, Councilman.
So I work in the industry of philanthropy, and I started out in grant writing and fundraising via grants and big, federal projects. Currently, right now in philanthropy and in every highly skilled market, there is a shortage of people who are able just to. A grant writer isn't a widget. They're not a rubber band we can just buy at the store. It's not a pen. It's not a pencil you can sharpen. Grant writing, fund development, philanthropy is a professional career that follows certain standards and guidelines, and they have a certain ethical demeanor to uphold. And so I know there's been talk about, well, let's just get a grant writer and pay them based on what they bring in. We're not allowed to do that. No good grant writer will do that for you. That is unethical in the field of philanthropy. From my vantage point with several of the people that I work with in my business, in my line of work, everyone is having trouble finding dedicated grant writers. A majority of folks who just do grant writing are either full-time employed by a higher ed institution or by a state or national and regional nonprofit who can afford to house them permanently, or they're gig economy workers who are already up to their eyeballs in grant applications for multiple partners. So I want to add, I am in agreement 100%. If we can afford it, if we can figure it out, let's help City Manager Snyder figure out how to get a grant writer or a fund development person into City Hall. And in lieu of having that ability right now, let's look at how it has been prioritized as the main priority. There's a 6-month plan to figure out how are we going to start attacking grants more strategically and writing more of them and trying to gain more resources. And I want to let us trust our city leadership in moving us forward. We've never had something like this presented, at least in the last 4 years, about how we're going to move forward with our goals. And this is actually quite exciting. I know that in 6 months I can say, oh, City Manager Snyder, where are we at on working on a grant writing situation, and who is helping? Did we train 3 people to write grants, and are they churning them out? What is the grant stash worth? How many grants have we written in 6 to 12 months? Those are all things that City Manager Snyder can bring to us as evidence that she's working towards this goal at the city at City Hall. So I wanted to offer that just because that is my general area of expertise and knowledge. I'm a certified fundraising executive. That's a international certification in philanthropy. Less than 5,000 people hold it worldwide. It is a tough field right now for those who are trying to raise money. It seems like there's a lot of money out there, but there are 20 million times the hands trying to grab it and get it for their community or for their cause or for their profit. And so the fact that Albion has been so successful in the years that it has gotten grants is really a testament to us pulling together. And I'm really excited that the city's made it a priority to start to professionalize it and make it part of our system going forward, because when it becomes part of our system, we'll always have it going forward. So I just want to offer that bit of knowledge for council as they kind of look at this issue. Thank you.
City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Lenn,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the purchase of Lammer's Heating and Air 3-ton HVAC unit.
So
Support. Do we have Director Miller here with us tonight, or?
We do not, he was unable to attend tonight. But myself, Director Miller, as well as Finance Director Reid, we were working the HVAC unit within the main finance office needs to be replaced. So we have solicited quotes to replace that unit, and after reviewing all of the quotes received, our recommendation is to go with the Lammer's 3-ton 2 model unit.
What year is that model?
What was the question?
The year of the model,
It'd be brand
Okay. Just want to make sure we're not in there.
No questions, concerns? City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lenn,
Yes.
Williamson,
yes.
Clark, Reid, Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve to discuss the sale of Huntington Boulevard properties. City Manager Snyder. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Motion to approve.
so.
Support.
So we received an offer from the Mr. and Mrs. Mall. They are interested in acquiring the property next. They own 809 Huntington Boulevard, and they are looking to acquire Hitching Post Lane. It is a right of way that leads to a large vacant lot. Within that, you will see 2 recommendations, one from the Planning and Building Director, Director Arnold, as well as our Director of Public Services, Director Miller. Both of the recommendations are to not move forward with the purchase or the sale of this property. It is very important that the city maintains ownership and control of any right of way. A lot of times within the right of way, consumers and other utility companies need to service things within that, and just having that ownership allows that work to happen smoothly, and it allows us to have control over future development. It's just important to, you pretty much want to maintain ownership of any right of ways. With that, I know Director Arnold is here to answer any questions that.
Then Colin, did you have comment?
I was just gonna add, I mean, aside from the fact that both the planning department and public services department are recommending that it not be approved, in reviewing the offer, there's no offer of any money. So realistically, it's not gonna, in my mind, it's not a legally valid offer because that didn't cost $1. There's no consideration, so. I would also not recommend it for that reason.
Yes, Councilwoman Lee.
Do we know whether this property is being maintained by the city, as in like the long main road and just the site of it, is it being kept up to the basic code standards? Because this is now the second property I've been made aware of just in the last week where I was told allegedly the city is not maintaining it, and so they wanted to acquire it so that they didn't have to look at that.
Yes, it is maintained by the city. Right now, we are soliciting bids for our large, the contract that we have in place with our large mowers. The last contract was only good for 1 year. So our code enforcement department, they have put out a bid to renew a contract with a vendor to maintain and upkeep large areas like this.
So in the interim, do we have anybody mowing right now?
Yes, we can, our DPW as well, the street department maintains the city lots.
Thank you.
Yes,
So did we make them aware, the people that were interested in the property, did we explain to them the city has access or whatever reasons before they, when they made the offer?
Yes, they were approached and they were invited to come to speak before council at tonight's meeting. She did say that they would be in attendance. I'm not sure if the walls are on or not.
I'm only seeing a phone number and an Albion. I don't know if that would be a mall or not.
So I was just, yeah, because if we're, if we should or should not vote for this, I think it's a good idea for the city to let them know that it's a property that we need to keep and why we need to keep it, so they don't understand.
Any other questions, comments? City
Ms.
President?
Mayor,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
did you say the recommendation was to not sell this property because we may have future use?
Yes, because it is a right of way.
Okay, got you.
So Colin, we take a vote on this, but
Yes, and you need to vote, so, and to be clear, if you vote yes, you're approving the sale, if you vote no, you're not approving the sale.
Yes.
you got that, all right. City Clerk, Domingo.
Councilmember Lawler,
No.
Lenn,
No.
Williamson,
No.
Clark,
No.
Reid,
No.
Jackson,
No.
and Mayor Snyder.
No. Motion to approve and discuss the sale of parcels in the urban renewal area.
So moved.
And Ian, you want to speak on this?
So
Go up to the podium and you're just off and we'll start back.
we have been approached by 3 different parties at this point, interested in various lots in the urban renewal area, north of Erie, west of Albion Street. 2 private residents and a developer, the zero-day housing partnership, are interested in part or all of the lots. 0-day being interested in as many of the lots as they can for their development, with the 2 residents, Ronnie Sims and Theodore Washington, being interested in singular parcels or part of parcels for reference. I've attached my 3 recommendations that I submitted to the city manager are attached to sum them up. Selling the parcel to Mr. Sims, I am recommending that we do not. To elaborate there, the parcel that Mr. Sims is interested in is far larger than he initially believed. He is interested in a small strip of it. If the council was interested in selling off a piece of it to Mr. Sims, they're certainly able to do so. But in my recommendation, I outlined that my concern is that would deter a zero-day housing development, which I'll jump to that. I have recommended to move forward with a purchase agreement with the zero-day housing partnership. I would welcome them to talk more to the city council here about what exactly they're doing, but they stand to, if they buy these lots from the city, develop we've north of 40 individual family dwelling units, some apartments, some rent to own, and some educational space and classroom space for skilled trades. As far as the recommendation on Theodore Washington's interest in purchasing a lot, and we can welcome that if you're interested in looking at the individual parcels. It would come down to, in my opinion, whether or not Zero Day was interested in the parcel that he is looking at. That specific parcel, Mr. Washington is interested in building a home on, and the parcels that Mr. Washington owns already, barring one of the 3 or 4, have homes on them already. And so my recommendations were written based off of who can provide housing in the near future here.
So do we have a map that can get put on the screen for us?
If we can pull up the county GIS fetch, I can walk us through it. I don't know where the best way to do that would be, but
This is the map that's in our packet, correct?
yes,
Yeah.
it is that. So if you're looking at the cul-de-sac there, that's Gadsden, I believe. It has a kind of horseshoe-shaped parcel. That is the parcel that Mr. Sims was interested in purchasing. He did not realize the size of it. Mr. Sims owns the vacant parcels, the 7 or 8 there in the southeast bottom right of that, and following along Albion Street to the west, the first house there is Mr. Sims' residence. Mr. Washington owns map on me, but he owns the second parcel down on Albion Street, and he's interested in kind of the double wide parcel on the top left of that block. I don't know if that explanation makes sense or not.
It does, because I know it is.
And you go here. Address.
What's that?
Calhoun County GIS fetch like adult.
Yes, so I spoke to, some of the residents, one of the residents in particular, even before I knew Zero Day was coming, because I knew that there was an interest in explaining, so that this is really explaining, to them that there was a developer looking for that area. The only concern when I was talking to them was, if a developer was going in that area, they were fine with that, and they understood that, because I guess in the past, there was, someone that was supposed to develop in that area, and somebody had made an offer to buy it, and then it fell through and it didn't happen. So, they felt like it was a deterrent and wasn't, good for him. And it's just another way to keep people from buying property. So that's my only concern, to make sure, that they realize. And if they listen to the meeting, they'll hear tonight, that it is going to be developed.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the map now, that, you were there. Right there. So this is the area we're referring to as the urban renewal. I don't know exactly how long the city has owned the parcels. They don't own all of the parcels. We own most of the ones in the center. As you get on the other side of South Gale Street, the west side there, the county owns some of those. And kind of interspersed between the residences are city, county, and privately owned parcels. So as far as I understand, and per the attachment to the 0-day recommendation, 0-day is interested in as many of these parcels owned by the county or the city or the residents as they can get their hands on. We of course only have say over the city-owned parcels, which tend to be the larger ones in the middle, the bulk of the acreage. I'm pointing, I don't know if anyone can see it in the room here. The second house in south of Cass Street and west of Albion Street there is Mr. Sims' residence. I believe it's a family member of his that owns the one just north of that, and he also owns the parcel just south of that. So this.
Oh, Mr. Washington.
Or Mr. Washington, I'm sorry. This L shape is owned by Mr. Washington. This parcel, this square one at Cass and Gadsden Court, is the one that Mr. Washington is interested in purchasing.
Then, Mr. Sims.
Yes, Mr. Sims is this gray roof house on West Erie Street, and he owns the 5 parcels here.
So he owns that, and what does he wish to acquire?
He wants to acquire a rectangular portion behind his house of this horseshoe-shaped parcel, kind of connecting a rectangle with this kind of Tetris piece parcel that he owns there. It's a little complicated, but essentially he assumed that the parcel directly behind him was just this rectangle. He came into my office and I explained the difference to him and told him he was welcome to make his case for part or all of the parcel, and it would be ultimately up to the council what we end up doing with it. My concern with that, as I've written in my recommendation, is it makes this parcel a little bit more difficult to build on for the 0-day housing partnership, which I believe is the most attractive of the 3 offers that we're looking at here, and stands for the city most.
All right, so Mr. Sims, from his house, he owns the property all the way to Albion Road, correct? Okay, and then he owns another parcel on Albion?
No, these are the 2 parcels, this L shape and this small square that he owns there. I believe this one is a Erie Street address and this one's an Albion Street address, but these other 3 owned by the county.
I'm not able to.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Share this screen that I think might.
Mr. Sims is looking to purchase a sliver of this red.
Right.
Similar to the other lots that he already owns.
Yes, so it would just.
Oh,
that
okay.
complete.
I see, okay,
And he currently owns those 3, yes.
okay.
My concern with Mr. Sims purchasing that is that it makes the other parcel here. I'm not referring to them by their address because all 3 of these parcels share the same address, and I'm just getting a little confusing. So the horseshoe shaped one around Gadsden Court is owned by the city, and it is one of the ones that 0-day is primarily interested in. And my concern is that selling part of it, one, it takes time for 0-day, and it might make their parcel a little less buildable if we do approve a purchase agreement.
Yes, Councilor Wilson.
Is there anything preventing us from exploring what 0-day is willing and able to commit to do over the next period of time? And then if they decide, hey, we're not interested anymore, or this is actually what we need, then we can work on Mr. Sims and Mr. Washington's request for property. I'm hearing from you in city government that the opportunity that provides us more opportunities in the city is the one from a housing development standpoint, the company that wants to potentially put housing there, correct?
That is my assessment, and I would say nothing prevents us from exploring with the parties.
Because I wouldn't want to say no to Mr. Sims or Mr. Washington until I knew that that land was actually going to be used. So it would be really bad for us to say, no, you can have that property, and then all of a sudden, 0-day says, no, we're not interested anymore. So instead of giving everyone the answer now, I think I would be much more interested in hearing what 0-day is committed to doing and actually doing a development agreement with the city. That way we don't let them acquire it or sell it to them and then they don't actually do something. And then after that happens, then move into what can we do to help the property owners near there who may want to acquire the property if it's still available.
Yes.
We do have two representatives from 0 Day, and if you do have any questions, I'm sure that they would be happy if you would like to introduce yourself to council. And I know Councilmember Clark, she actually brought this coming to the city's attention. This has been an ongoing project for some time pre-COVID. And then unfortunately, I think when the ball really got rolling, everything got stopped by COVID, and now things are back up and going, and we're looking forward to continuing discussions on this potential project. So if you would like to approach council.
Yes. Good evening, my name is Tim Honeycutt. Jared Hager is with me tonight. We're here for 0 Day. 0 Day, first and foremost, is a community revitalization entity, and we started with a lot of programming in the central part of the state to revitalize communities with fencing, and we use training programs for disadvantaged sectors of the community, but a heavy focus on veterans. So Jared himself is a veteran who is actually working on a program management team right now. So an example of this type of endeavor would be Jared recently learned how to be one of my construction educators, and he recently led a community revitalization project where we demolished a severely blighted property with his trainees. They all received nationally recognized accreditation for their work. Now they're moving on into the workforce and working within communities that need people that have such skills, such as Albion. Let me give you a little background on this particular project and the site so you understand where I'm coming from. We were invited here. We were asked to come take a look at an opportunity to maybe make something work. Several members of your community over the last 7 years, have been to Riverside. I met this lovely lady about 6 years ago, I think. I think it was a delegation of people who were looking to build senior housing and some community revitalization. That's what I did. We met at one of my facilities, and it's where we do the majority of our work actually from, in Battle Creek. And everybody came to me, and we stayed in touch for a long time, especially Mr. Smith, about how can we get something like that here? Well, here I am. We have been working on this for well over 2 years. I responded to a couple of calls from the community saying, can you please come and try to make something happen on the urban renewal site? We have met with Amy DePrez at her office countless times about this project. We've met with multiple state, federal, and county agencies that want to cooperate and collaborate in redeveloping and reinvesting in your city. We have some great traction through our partner investor, which is Scenair, which is, I think they actually house them, we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They've been a partner of ours for years too. They put some money up to pay for a consultant that was requested at the will of Ymca. They wanted more data about what this impact could actually mean, especially if we could bring in some diversity and inclusion types of trades introduction and some training, like vocational programming, things of that nature into a site like this. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit into what is being talked about at the state and federal level now, which is extremely exciting, extremely cool, and will mean that if this project, when this project gets built, will be a benchmark for many other communities throughout our country. So we've talked about diversity and inclusion, combining the sense of permanent supportive housing, which you lack severely in this community as well, which is what we saw at Silver Star. Coupled with a new term that I've been using that I don't know if there's a better definition out there or not, that is permanent supportive employment. So you take the idea of permanent supportive housing development, you have all the services wrapped around, job training locations, the different connectors in the community, advocacy, things like that. Tie employment and employment training into the same environment. You got a whole new dichotomy of a community revitalization project and a multifamily development. My goal is to get 2 larger multifamily housing units on the site. Larger, I mean, maybe up to 80 units. We have not done a market study to demonstrate yet. There's a community-driven market study that shows that would be about 1/100th of what this community needs. So we're not even concerned about that. The site has a lot of contamination. Economic Development Office has worked with SME to leverage funding to further explore the contamination impact on that site and how we will arrange a development. I can't say right now that we're gonna put a building right here, another building right here, without drawing a sample map. I have no clue what's underneath that green stuff right there. And we won't until SME gets their job done, which they just got approval to do, which was a year hold up waiting through the COVID process. So once that happens, that will define what we're able to do on the site. My only goal is to maximize the impact of this community, that we can make a positive way with the use of this site. I don't care if it's 8 units or if it's 80 units, it doesn't really matter. It's getting the job done and making it happen. That's how we've proceeded. The other side of this, I know that there's a big demand for single family housing, which is actually my favorite to design and build, especially in the affordable realm. There needs to be an answer other than just Habitat for Humanity doing projects like this. So we do it on more of a market-driven, equity-driven way. So my goal would be to have, again, this apartment type of building. We do homeownership training, counseling, job training, things of that nature within this community, with the intent that we build some houses around it that are graduates from these programs and services can move into those homes to become their first opportunity on homeownership. And also fire hose treatment.
I just want to add to that, because I work in permanently supported housing and permanently supported employment, I don't want you to have the idea that it's always permanent. The goal is to support people that aren't in a position at the time to live or work in a viable or livable environment because of whatever has happened in their past. These type of programs have proven time and time again, once you get people into a structure and show them that they're able and capable to do these things, a lot of times people move out and buy their own homes or build their own homes or get viable employment, other than working with Tim or whoever they are in the support program. So this type of program would be excellent for this area.
Answer any other questions?
So in the paperwork, it says you guys have been working on this since 2019. You guys have a time frame of what steps can be done in what particular timeline? Because going back to what Mr. Sims said, Reid, he said he's been trying to acquire this property since 2012. So really don't want to hold up people and have people spinning the wheels if it's truly not something that's going to be moved forward with. I mean, because this sounds great, but like you said, soil has to be tested and other things have to be done. So, we kind of have a time frame for certain steps to be taken.
Our only time frame that I can commit to in the same way that what buildings can go where is I'm at your speed and the state's speed. So Michigan has made this a priority. They've assigned their executive development team to create a specialized program to make this happen. And it was taken to the governor's office, who took it to all the other state department directors and said, collaborate on this. And that probably slowed it down a little bit more because we were intending initially to go into one of the 2 funding rounds that Michigan has. They said, no, let's not do that. Let's not even take it through that process. Because they want to create a special program, they have created this special assignment to this. So I can't answer because I'm not out of control on it. All I can tell you is I've committed 2 years of my organization's time, unpaid, ungrant funded. There's no reason for me to be here other than I respect people in the community that have asked us to be here. So I have to ask for the leniency and respect in return on that because I can't do anything else. I have no control of what's underneath that dirt.
So then when you finish there, you're going up to that room.
Yes.
So I guess in regards with then this proposal, what would be the next thing that we're waiting on?
In my belief, it would be a development agreement that I believe is, we've talked about recently in the, these proposals or request to purchase accelerated my need to be here to explain what we've done so far. This is a little premature because like I said, I can't show you. Normally I would go to a community and say, this is what I'm planning to build. I can't do that, but I'm here to explain to you why we're doing it.
So again, the only reason why I approached him is because I've worked with them through some other HUD programs, and I've watched them go from their planning to presenting and then waiting for approval from Mr. or whoever else I waited from. And I will say from, once they make a commitment, they usually, it's not one of those where they drop the ball. So, look, we're out of here. Because they work with veterans and other people and what their training is, and because their arms reach out so far, if that's a better way to say it, they're able to get certain things done and get things corrected better than most of us.
Yes. Councilman, over with the land bank and some of the veterans here at Albion this morning. We went over to their place in Battle Creek, very nicely done. We were impressed with what they had there. The people who were there was impressed with being there too. So I think this would be really good practice.
So is the next step that we should just wait until environmental is done and then development agreement is drafted? Is that the next thing we do with this? Like, I mean, obviously that's gonna take time, but I'm trying to figure out what our action is tonight.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is that you probably table this to allow. I'm sorry, it's been a heck of a month. Zero day can come to the council with a formal proposal saying 0 days proposing to purchase parcels A, B, C, and D for X amount. It'd be contingent on a development agreement and contingent on, and included in there probably the buy and sell terms, but I would suggest tabling the agenda item tonight to allow, it sounds like there's interest in it, sounds like a great program, but obviously you want that formality before you can approve, I think, moving forward.
Yes, Councilman Anderson.
Move to table until proposals brought back to council.
Did that, I would call a question before we make that motion. I have a question, I don't know if it's calling a question to hold the motion. When I was made aware of, Mr. Sin's concern about this property, trees have been cleared and not removed. So in terms of the environmental impact in the soil, there's other things above ground that are concerning in terms of wild animals and things, making his neighborhood unsafe and his quality of life diminished. So although we are waiting and there's a process in place, is there any way that the city can agree to remove the trees that have already been cut down and, you know, maintain that property to ensure his home's safety? And can we agree upon that tonight?
But he's talked to just about everybody because the grass also has not been cut like it should be. And so he was saying, you know, his property and is good and cut, and then here you work to grass like this. And
It's calling.
So we've kind of created a parliamentary mess here, okay?
Yeah.
Because Councilman Williamson had active motion, there should have been a call for a second, and Councilman Lanu then made another motion, and so realistically, I believe Councilman Williamson's motion is on the floor first, so there really shouldn't be any discussion unless it's on his motion to table.
So do we have a second for Councilman Williamson's motion?
Second, I also want to make a motion that we table both of these proposals to purchase the property until after they have come back to us.
That was my motion.
Okay.
They're bringing back a proposal, and then we're gonna handle the other. That was my motion, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So what we have is a motion to table until we can get more information. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. I did want to add that we have committed multiple times so that the city could leverage SME and EPA grants and such. So we have made a commitment to the entire parcel for those purposes. So just wanted to put that out there in case I didn't want anybody to think that I haven't made documented commitments to develop this site. So, thank you.
City Clerk Miller.
Councilmember Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
No.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Okay. So we're having a motion to approve for the honorary street naming for Miss Eileen Ford.
Support.
Ian, are you speaking on this?
I am.
Okay.
I'll say also, as we're talking about the legal requirements, I welcome the city attorney to this packet, but essentially after a brief conversation with Colin, the two avenues that the city council has for giving an honorary street name in honor of Ymca Programs is to just make it an honorary renaming of a street, which can be done this evening if you wanted, or to go about the process of legally, formally renaming the street. I believe his take on that was that would be a very difficult process that requires a public hearing. We talked about legally renaming the street. You're asking people to change passports, driver's license IDs, things like that. In my recommendation, I state that if the council feels strongly about this, that is an avenue that they can go down and always say no if the public is not interested in that. If the council feels like legally renaming the street is too much, but nothing prevents you at any time from creating a resolution to give an honorary name to the street, and certainly signage on the street sign could, I believe, be done for that. But essentially, both options are available to you. Kind of at all times. It's just about how far down you want to go with this.
Okay, so I want to say first, the county wants to thank the council for even considering it at this time. Because they did want to recognize their mom, because she was a 30-year first Black woman to ever have a business. Their first choice is to do Mulberry as the honorary, because that's where her business is. And then the second choice, however we should vote for, decide, would be the street, but nobody knows that street. Nobody knows she lived there, so the first choice is to decide, and they're happy with the honorary. So after I spoke with them, so just want to put that out. Parcel.
I move that we give the honorary street name for Ms. Eileen Gamble to Mulberry Street.
Any questions, comments, concerns? City Clerk Miller.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reid, Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes, indeed.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve, discuss Highland Park funding. So. Ms. Lynn Reid, you want to take the floor on this?
Yeah. I think, well, I sent a packet to everyone, yeah. And, I sent a packet to everyone, and the things that I was asked, what had been done so far, as you can see, quite a bit of money has been put in there. We've got a few more things to finish doing, and I think Tom is going to present us with what's been done.
Good evening. I think as Councilmember Reid has indicated, you have in front of you should be back with the numbers from what was collected and raised, I guess we have a term for money put on top part versus what was spent. And she had asked me to go back to the inception of what for this first surface, so we went back from the very beginning and went down through. And in summary, the various donors, whether they be some local, even individuals, local organizations, other donations she's worked towards getting throughout the years. He's taken in $264,000, almost $412 through April 12th. Actually, a little bit more. I ran these numbers on April 14th. That was during the month of April, some money was still coming in. And we had a discussion on there. I think there was probably about, I'm going to say close to another 3,000 that's come in the second half of April after I ran this. So in early May, I don't guess this week's May, but and with that, we look at the expenses because most of the money that came in was earmarked, so to speak, for a particular purpose. You know, she had visions, she would get money, you know, get the money in, and she would complete that part of it. So following along with that, we spent $248,064 in new improvements to the park since she started this project. So today she has probably, I'm going to guess on a little bit that came in April, there's probably about 18 to 19,000 sitting there available. And of course, the pavilion is paid for. The city has the material. It's in storage, waiting to go up. So definitely made a lot of improvements down there for that part. So questions?
Councilman Lenn?
Do these expenses or revenues include the commitment by Albion College to put up the pavilion?
They did not. This only reflects what we physically received as typical type of donations.
And do we know how much that's gonna cost?
I do not have that figure.
Albion colleges, as far as I know now, it's $0 that we are going to have to pay because they are paying for the cement, they're paying for everything that has to be done. I was out with Albion Electric on last week, doing some underground work, and the college said that they would be taking care of that. So Albion Electric is going to take care of that. So we
Right, but there has to be a value to it, and we're gonna have to give that value to Albion College at some point for either a tax situation or for a labor expense situation. So that is a cost to get this park up, and even though they are going to incur that cost, which we're very thankful for, it is part of the whole budget for the program, which was my next question. I don't see anywhere in this packet how much money we have left until we're done with the park. So I see this is mainly a check register and accumulation of expenses. It doesn't say, here's the Holland Park renovation, here's how much it's gonna cost total, and I guess this is what we've done so far, but how much is left to be done? Do we know the number?
give you that.
That's part two.
Sure, okay.
Okay. As you can see from the pictures around here, we started with an empty piece of ground, nothing on it. Now, we have put in over, what, $293,000 worth of materials here. And what we have left, in your folder, you should have a map. Okay, you want to pull that out. We have done the bathrooms with a grant from Enbridge for $9,000 with the Children's Garden, with, from Philanthropic Women's, and I think, something like, 1,300, a little bit more. The Children's Playground, Fire Keepers, 35,000. We are not doing a children's water park, so you can mark that off. So where you see the CWP, that's not gonna be. History Hill, we've done that. Horseshoe Pit, we are doing that at the cost of, I think, Patrick said, anywhere from $300 to $400, okay, so you can put that down. The new pavilion, that's all taken care of. Parking lot, I'm waiting for Patrick on that, which is going to be asphalt, I'm not sure of what, but he is getting the price on it. Staging area, that is a question mark. Small bleachers, we have those. Shuffleboard court, we are not doing that. SC, you can mark it out. Senior workout area, that has been done. Teen workout area, that has been done. And so the things that we have left are the tables and pits for the barbecue, for the area out there, and that's $14,860. The History Hill watering and irrigation system, that's $4,653.10. Signage for the park and for the pavilion, that's running close to $6,000. It's $5,000 and something, but there's one thing that I left off, so I'm just rounding that off at $6,000. Little box, the little reading boxes that we have out there, has got to be repaired. Someone decided to kind of take off a few hinges, and so that's going to probably run $50, and then the $1,500 is going to be the landscaping for the new pavilion and History Hill. So we've got about $27,063.10 worth of work to do. Maybe just a little bit more than that, but that is basically what it's going to be right now.
If I could add something to that.
Yes.
Did you have the irrigation crossing there?
Yeah. Irrigation is $4,652.10.
No, just, I want to make it clear, just so council understood, is in a session, some part of the time, the prior council, I call it, because I know a lot of them who actually approved that money already. We've got quotes at that time, but they actually approved it when they were doing the budget, and they approved that money to come from the regular parks fund, not from the common parks fund. So actually, you can scratch out.
Okay.
Yes, Councilman Williamson.
So are we being asked to fund $27,000 tonight to finish Holland Park, or what are we doing tonight with this?
I'm asking for the $13,000 that was left over from the Patton County Parks Fund. $10,000, it was $23,000 altogether. $10,000 went to Victory. I asked for the other 13 that's left over.
I'm sorry to jump in again. I don't know, are we getting that full amount this year?
No, we just received an update from the Cali County Their Parks Office, and it is lower than what the anticipated allocation amount will be. We're receiving a little over 21,000. Mindful that previous council, they approved to put 10,000 towards their redoing of the tennis and basketball courts within Victory Park. So 10,000 of that 21,000 will need to go towards those projects.
So there's 11,000 there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mayor Snyder,
Yes.
Councilmember Waller had her
Oh,
hand.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Lawler?
Thank you, Miss Mayor. So how much are we actually, are you actually asking for? And will this complete everything that you need to do for the park?
No, it will not. I'm asking for the 11,000, and it's gonna go with whatever we've got now to take care of this, but still, the parking lot, I do not have figures on the parking lot, I haven't gotten that together yet. So the parking lot still has to be done, and I think that's it.
So then you're asking for the 11,000?
Yes. To go, yeah.
And Councilman Lemieux?
I didn't have my hand raised.
Okay. May I have any other comments? Yeah, Council, or Mayor Jackson.
Councilwoman, Reid, can you go back over the numbers, please? That's it.
Okay.
Numbers, because he said the 4,000 was taken out, so just go over everything and then I'll take the 4,000.
14,860 is what has to go for in your packet.
Okay,
You got this.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Then he took out the $4,653.10 for the history bill, irrigation system, because that's already been taken out.
That was approved in the other department.
Okay, so that can come up. Signage. You don't have those yet, but I've got a packet that's gonna be going up for signs, the park, the entrance park signs, and the park things that go to each area that we filled out thinking whether it was or whatever they did. That's running close to $6,000. Little reading boxes, it's about $50 just to get the stuff, to get them cleaned up and ready again. The 1,500 was for, oh, that's that 1,500 is for 3 more signs that I didn't have in on the quote that I got from the company, which was $5,050. So that's gonna come out 1,500 more right there, and that's it. And then the parking lot don't have a price on it.
I just want to suggest that, I'm really excited that, Ms. Reid brought this up, and it looks like we're coming to a close of the Holland Park project, which is exciting. I think before I want to just blanket give the remainder of what will be collected through the county park millage, before we do that, I would like to see the numbers on the parking lot. I would like to see this in a kind of like a final form, like here's what we're doing, here's what's left, here's how the city's gonna contribute, and then we're gonna be done to move on to the next project. I kind of want to see something a little more formal than what we have, so that's my suggestion.
I'll bring it down here so that you can get it together, because this is as formal as I am. So I'll bring it down to you, you can get the rest of it together.
If I can add something else too, that might help the decision on this, we'll have to come back to council at some point to do a budget amendment for the money that we receive from the county, because when we put our budget together, at that point, I don't even recall if they had the millage yet. I know at least they didn't know the amount, obviously. So we did not budget or put anything in on that for in the budget, and once it was approved, they have some pretty specific steps that money's got to be accounted for and tracked separately from any of the other money that we would put in park. So we'll have to come back with something for the council to approve for the use of all that money that we receive. So.
All right. Were you gonna say something here? Okay, Councilor
Williamson.
I was just gonna move the table until we have that information collected, potentially at the next council meeting.
We have a motion to table, we have a second.
Lawler has a
Miss
question.
Mayor. Miss
Go ahead.
Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had my hand up, a while back.
Go ahead, where's yours?
Okay, so can I wanted to make a motion though. Cullen, if I have my hand up, am I able to make a motion before Shane make his, or how does that go? I don't wanna do the wrong thing.
That'd be right then.
So Ms. Lawler, Councilman Lawler can make the motion.
Go ahead, Councilman Lawler.
Okay, so I wanted to make a motion that, to give 15,000, to finish this project. So between 11 and 15, no more than 15 to finish this project. If she has to come back to council, I would rather try to see if she can budget something for a parking lot for $4,000 more and just probably be done with the project, hopefully.
So do I have a second for Councilman Lawler's motion?
Can I say, with that? It's a question, go ahead.
I need a second, Dr. Khan.
Right, and so if there's no second, the motion fails for lack of a second.
Okay, so. we got that
Okay,
now.
thank you.
And so now Councilman Williamson's motion will stand.
I move to table this until we have more information.
Okay, do I have a second for that motion? I can I second?
Yes.
So I'll second it.
I was just gonna say support.
City Clerk Domingo? Motion to table until we have final numbers.
Councilmember Reid,
No.
Jackson,
No.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lenn,
No.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Wednesday.
Motion pass.
No,
No.
motion failed, so Councilman Williamson.
Okay, so I go back to my original question. What is it that we want done tonight? It's discuss and approve funding for Allen Park. There have now been two options been put on the table, one for up to 15,000, didn't get seconded. One to table to get more information so that we can then make an informed decision about Allen Park. Now that has failed. What is being asked of council tonight?
Councilman.
June 14th, June 19th, we have Juneteenth there. I have given you, in my budget, in the budget, I think, that 16,000. I gave you this in there for the get tables and stuff for the pavilion that's going to be placed in the next 2 weeks. I've got to get tables and things ordered in order for them to be here by June 19th. So, and you've got the exact cost of what it's going to be to get them. But if we don't hurry up and do it, that price is going up. If you look at the date up here in the corner.
What page was that? Was that in a thick packet or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have.
You're looking for the table?
Yes, Councilman Williamson.
So on that list, just so to get some clarification, I see that those are prices for those items. I don't see a delivery date or expected delivery date. Currently, the supply chain is inundated with delays. Just the other day, it was Lazy Boy Furniture was thinking about delaying orders now because every week they're getting orders for 60,000 pieces of furniture, but only turning out 30,000. Is there any guarantee that these picnic tables, if we were to approve them tonight, would actually even be here by June 19th? Because it is a 6-month delay. I'm just buying a chair at a furniture store at this point. So I'm just trying to figure out how much of this is we actually need the money right now because we can actually have the tables by June 19th, or are we just trying to push something through to get it done quickly?
I talked with the guy from the company. I don't know if I keep coming up with this. We can have this by June 19th. I talked with the guy from the company who's making the sign. He will have those for us in the next 2 weeks. Who else would you like me to talk with?
Can I see that paper that you just had the tables and, yeah.
Yes. And if you'd like to check with him, his name is right up there. Dan, David, whatever.
So how much money is council being asked to pay tonight? How much money is being asked to be put toward town park?
Us going,
What's the number?
So are you just looking at the tables that are on here, then council?
that whole order right there at the bottom is 14,000 and what?
14,860.
Okay, that's what it is.
But do we have that much money?
Right now, I've got 16.
City manager, do we have enough money?
As Councilmember Reid has indicated, there's 16.3 in there now, probably closer to 18 to 19 in there now. There will be the money coming in from the county, which I said we will at some point when we know. When we get an idea of where we want to spend all that, we will come back with that budget. So there's money available there. And, the rest, I guess, is up to council on where they want to, take some money from one area and put it to another, or how we want to.
So the money that's being asked for tonight, the 14,800, come out of the 16 that's already earmarked for Holland Park? Or is that coming out of the general fund, not like we're moving money from the general fund to Holland Park? That's what I'm kind of confused about here.
My understanding is you're looking for an additional above and beyond the 16, correct?
Yes.
Of approximately.
And I have all of these check things made out to Holland Park, that the money that came in for Holland Park. I've even got some friends when I went to philanthropic women, and that time that money went to the Veterans Association. And I actually had people in philanthropic women send checks. You got Sharon Yankee sent a check for $2,000, other people send for $1,000, $100. So people are sending in money because they appreciate what they see being done. And it's all going into the budget for Holland Park.
Councilman Clark.
Okay, so I'm confused now. First you said 15,000. Now it's 14,660. Yeah.
No, I don't
And then, yes, you did.
I provided you with all,
Wait,
everybody
Lynn,
got
I'm
one.
Lynn, I'm
Everybody
sorry.
got
I'm listening.
one. They're the same.
Lynn, I'm talking,
Right?
Lynn.
No.
You gotta wait till I finish asking my question and then you can answer. Thank you. So all we're trying to figure out is the figure that you want to complete. So at first you said 15,000, now it's 14,860. If it's 14,860, I make a motion that we give her 14,860. Anything else in additional to that, she's gonna have to come in with it.
All right, so Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Thank you. What I like is that, when it was brought.
There's a motion in place.
It is a motion?
Yes.
I didn't, no one second. Okay. Anybody, I'm thinking, I didn't say that.
So do we have a second on Councilwoman Clark's motion?
Can she repeat her motion, please?
I made a motion that we give her what's on the paper.
14,860.
14,860. And if it's above that, then it'll be more of her donations that we'll have to pay for it.
Oh, I just made that motion, didn't
No, it was for 15. That's above.
I'm doing. I'm
Okay.
doing on paper.
I'll second that.
Can we do that since that motion already failed?
It's not the same motion, it's a different.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
my question is, I do want this clarified. Of that 14,860, because this is what I'm getting at. I see in this list of expenses that in the Holland Park account here, there looks like there's 16,347 there. However, I know why that money's trickling in afterwards. It's the amended gift group. The group that I co-founded and started that has helped to
Now, we haven't
donate
received
to
your check.
Holland Park. My check's here tonight, ma'am, thank you. There's a certain window of time to turn those in. Okay, so that money's sitting there for Holland Park. Now, of the money being requested tonight, we're not asking for it out of that pocket of money. We're asking for it out of the general fund, out of a separate pocket of money. So currently unspent in the Holland Park fund is 16,347, give or take a few thousand based on the donations that are coming in. And what's being asked of council tonight via this motion is that we're gonna give 14,860 in addition to already having the 16,000, correct? Okay, thank you.
Councilmember.
Director, we don't have we're renewing actively tomorrow our recreation village. Don't we have additional funds in our recreational village? Our recreation fund?
The unique thing about Albion, because there's a lot of unique things that I don't know the answers to. What, for some reason or other, Albion has always had the recreation and the parks in two separate funds, unlike majority of municipalities where parks and rec are one. Albion has always had a separate fund for that, for recreation. And in this case, we even have a special millage for recreation. So it would be we want to really be careful if we were going to use any recreation money. I would say it would have to be it'd be restricted to if there's going to be recreational use of. I'm not talking like a specific purpose where the rec department was going to start doing something there, regularly or something, that way we could justify moving that money over there for recreation.
Yes. The recreation millage is for a recreation program, it cannot be used for capital improvement type expenses.
And just to clarify, or to add to that a little bit, what I was saying, the parks in Albion falls under the general fund, so.
Okay.
So kind of going back to what Shane was saying, so taking both of those numbers into account, then we're looking at a little over $31,000 for what is listed total.
With the exception of the parking lot.
Let me help you out some, because I have worked on this since 2014. I don't get a penny for doing this. Every penny that comes in town comes straight to the donor. No money touches my hand. I have received nothing for doing Holland Park. So I did Holland Park because Mr. Bonner asked me to do Holland Park. And so I started. I have spent all my time, all my money today. I set up and ran off 50 sheets of my paper that I bought at my house, doing different things. So I'm just gonna take my things on home tonight. I'm gonna call Mr. Bonner and tell them I am not finishing Holland Park. So you all can fight over what's gonna be done with Holland Park, or if Holland Park is gonna be finished or not. Because I haven't got paid for doing this. And I'm not gonna be bothered with snotty, nasty attitudes. And then I still stay up all night working on getting stuff to do Holland Park with. That's what's wrong with Albion. We always start doing something and then boom, we drop the ball and nothing is done.
Councilman Reid, I mean, we are in these positions to try to get to the
I
correct
understand
answer,
that,
and
so
so
he's trying to make it sound like I'm getting some money that I shouldn't get.
Point of order, that situation is every day, point of order. Point of order.
Every bill
That
that we
situation has never been
pay,
made.
Tom pays the bill, I don't pay the bill. All the money goes into the account and Tom does everything, all I do is look it up, get the figures, bring them to you all so that you can look at them, and then I'll be tacked down to, I can't get anything but the very last thing that I need to get, I don't need that.
Well, the.
I don't need that.
We need to shut
Yes.
this.
We're gonna
Take
vote.
the vote, let's shut this down.
We're gonna vote.
Shut this down, take the vote, and we're done with this.
Point of information, we can't just shut it down in the middle of the city
No.
council meeting. This is there's parliamentary procedure and the quorum is accepted.
Okay, so the way that would need to work, if any member of council wishes to end discussion, someone has to make a motion to call the question. There would not be any debate over that, it's just whether there's a call the question and a second, and then there's a vote on that.
All right, call the question.
Question, you know, what
There
is,
has to be a second.
I'm sorry. Do we have a second for the call to question?
Second.
And so the, motion on the table, city clerk, can you remind me what we got?
14.
The 14,860.
14,860.
From the general fund.
This is just to be clear, first you're voting to end debate
Yes.
by calling the question. That's your first vote. Your second vote would be on the substantive motion.
So city clerk Domingo, I will call order.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lenn,
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So then the motion is on the floor, for the approval of the 14,860.
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Lenn,
Yes.
Williamson,
No.
Clark,
Yes.
Reid,
No. I don't want the 14,860.
I don't think you understand.
What? Okay, what's the question?
No, I don't think you all understand the total figure that's being allowed.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not understanding.
I don't think discussions per minute, we
Yeah.
gotta continue with.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
Point of clarification, Councilmember Reid, did you vote yes or no?
She don't know.
She voted no.
The question, okay, just.
Okay. Question to approve the discussion on the dialogue property?
It's just a discussion.
I'm sorry, discussion. Ooh. Mayor Young Jackson, for yours.
Alright. Okay, so I did, see the information that, was provided for me about making a, walkway through that contaminated area. And what I'm asking for is that I'd like to know what is really going on with that part of contamination. Did we do a soil test or anything?
So, I kind of was in the meetings before. You weren't here, right? Were you active at that time when we did that? So there was a testing, they found out that the soil was contaminated. It's only a certain amount of contamination on the topsoil. So, and Kip will help me if I'm wrong. And it's something that can be easily covered, but at this time, because it's not being developed or anything like that, the expense for us to just go and cover that, we decided not to do that. We decided to fence it in to keep people from walking through it and give them a path. Because of that contamination, because we didn't have the money to do all the rest of it at this time. And that's what all those other minutes and notes about from the past.
Yeah, so initial environmental study was done on the Dial site. And the study found that the contamination within that site, it's not a problem unless it is just disturbed. So if we're mowing it and blowing the grass that's being pulled up from the ground, we go in and dig in the ground, then we are disturbing the contamination. So back in, I don't know if it was 2019, the previous council voted to put signs around the lot, as well as install a path through, because we do realize that residents do travel across that lot, which is not a problem as long as they are not digging or disturbing the area. They also had asked to put garbage cans, which that did not happen. When Mayor Pro Tem brought this to my attention, Dr. Miller did go out and we have added garbage cans to the area so that residents passing through can properly dispose of their trash. But this is what council directed the city to do, and we have done that. If you're looking for something different.
So what about the fence?
There's no fence. They voted to put signs around the lot, not an actual fence.
So then also, taking care of that area as far as it being cleaned, being picked up, who's supposed to do that?
I brought that to our DPW's attention that it is still a city-owned lot, so it does fall under our responsibility. And they have added the garbage cans, and they were supposed to go out and clean up the trash and stuff that's on there.
Okay, so that wasn't taken care of, and so they told me to come down here and show them. I did complain that it's not being taken care of.
Absolutely, and I will bring that to their attention so that they can work that into their weekly work schedule. I will also add that the Ymca site, that is one of our RRC sites that we are looking to advertise and work with the state to bring developers to do something with that site. So we are aware that it is a priority for the city, and we are working with these MEDC as well as the EDC to advertise that development site.
And I know there's nothing you can do, but I am aware that we are having homeless people.
And I brought that to public safety's attention as well, so that we can properly provide them with resources and services that they can.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Wilson, do you have comment?
No, I was just gonna add, the reason the fence wasn't put up, there was a long discussion about the fence, because we all had originally, when we were in council, we thought, oh, get a fence, keep people out of there. The problem is, no matter what fence we're gonna put up, it's gonna get jumped or destroyed, which would have been a waste of resources at that time, so the signs were thought to be a more economical approach. I go down there and I see those signs, I think they're not walking that. So I think it's working, but I just want to be sure I clarify about the fence. We talked about that a long time, whether we could do a fence or not, and we decided against the fence, because of the cost.
Do you know that, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I am, because I did read in the minutes of 9/16/2019 about where some individuals was in favor of this. So I did read all the way back from what she did.
I believe this is Lawler, she's raised her hand.
Councilman Lawler?
Thank you, Miss Mayor. I thank Councilmember Jackson for bringing the attention to the homeless that are tonight. Is there anything else that maybe council can come up with to try to keep them out? Or I heard somebody say something about the fence, it'll probably be torn down within a matter of time, but is there anything else that we can come up with besides Shane helping us get a homeless shelter?
I'll say.
I'm playing, but I'm being serious. I just wanted to know if it was like something else that we can do, because I'm telling you, I ride past at 6 o'clock in the morning and I see people in there. I have a rider going that way when I go to work, and when we get off at 6, I see them in there.
I have given Ms. Snyder some resources, and in fact, just as kind of a council member, making some connections from Ms. Snyder to a new program that started in Battle Creek that's growing in County, that may be looking at Albion as a place to help with our homeless situation. So weirdly enough, you said my name, and I actually had done something already, so there you go.
And I'll just say, I've had conversations with Chief Jeff and it has been brought to public safety's attention, and if they make contact with them, this individual, they are providing them with resources on shelters and other areas that they can turn to.
Councilman Reid.
It seems sense to me, if we could work with, I don't know if it's land bank or if we could work with the state, and get that land cleaned up, because if we could, we might could get a developer like the ones that just left here to put some more affordable housing out there, like apartments or something. But in the first place, it looks a mess, isn't it? It really looks shabby. And you'd be right down behind the Johnson Daycare Center, and be right across from the other housing. It really looks a mess, and it doesn't make Albion look like we're progressing. And I just think that at the time that we voted on that, I didn't think that was a good idea anyhow, because we got enough to get satisfied with stuff. You put it there and then you don't do anything else to try to clean it up and make it look any better. You just get satisfied with it being there and looking like that. And I really think that if we research, that's where we could use a grant writer too. But if you went to the state or went to land bank to see if they can help us get something and get that land cleaned up so it will be usable, instead of just sitting there looking like it's looking.
If I can, I just want to reiterate that Dalrymple site is one of our top 3 RRC sites within our community. We are working with the MEDC to utilize different tools and resources at the state level to attract a developer. So that is one of our top priority sites within our community to gain some type of development. So we are working with the state to see a developer.
Because that's a nice size piece of land to do something with.
Councilman Clark. Councilman Lenn.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. I'm curious if in the redevelopment ready toolkit, there's anything to address the fact that we can't disturb the land and mow it, but now there's like lots of trees popping up and it's overgrown already and it's just May. You know, what do you do when an area is overgrown but you can't disturb it?
The overgrown, that is actually one of the recommendations for contaminated land, to put some type of overgrown shrubbery to prevent people from going onto it to disturb the toxins within it. However, if we do gain a developer who is interested in that site, there are several tools at the state level that they can utilize to get rid of that contamination. But however, it is not a cheap process, so it does require someone who does have the abilities to do that type of environmental cleaning or.
Thank you, that helps to understand.
Okay. Discussion on Juneteenth celebration.
Juneteenth celebration is going to be June 19th at Holland Park. And it's going to start. I'll start packing my stuff up too quick. I guess I should kind of have. It's going to start here at City Hall at 11 o'clock. We usually start on the City Hall steps at 11 o'clock with just a minute, I need to find that picture. Okay, at 11 o'clock with the mayor giving us commendations that they started. Then we go down to Holland Park, and this year we hope we are going to be dedicating the park plus the new pavilion when we get down to Holland Park. Plus, it's also going to be we're going to have a short program because the NACP is going to recognize their senior people, senior freedom fighters. And so after then, we're going to be having several things going on at the park. I wish I could find a picture, I don't know what I did with it. We're going to have, when we first get there and we dedicate the pavilion, we're going to also name the the pavilion. And we're going to be having all around the park different things. We've got vendors. We had a meeting last Saturday. And Cliff Harris is going to be doing music. Walk the Beat is going to be there. And then we're going to have games. We hope to have Dante there doing exercise. We're going to have a lot of things going on for kids. We're going to have gift baskets that we're going to be wrapping up. The health department, that's what I really wanted to tell you. The health department is going to be there and they're going to be doing pollen tests. They're going to be doing blood tests and diabetes tests and mental health screening and giving people information on that. They're also going to have Medicare there to help people who do not have a program or who would like to know more about what Medicare can give. It's just a lot of things that's going to be going on. And then at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we always have a gospel fest. And there we invite several different churches in to do mime, do dance, do music, do things like that. And so we'll be having that too. And there will be more coming out in the newspaper. We're trying to set up food trucks. But if you really want to have your own picnic, you can do your own barbecue and come down. Our pits are not going to be ready that day. But as far as hopefully the pavilion, it'll be ready with the seating and everything. So that's what we're going to be doing. Hopefully we're going to have basketball going on. We're working that out with the rec department. And just a lot of things going on in the park.
I have a question, Councilmember Reid, because we actually received an application and a payment in the amount of $20 from, I guess, a vendor who was planning to attend Juneteenth. When looking at the fee schedule, we don't have a fee for vendor booths. Usually the chamber oversees the vendor application and vendor booths for any festivals or events within our community. So I guess, who do we need to direct those payments to? Because we don't, in the past.
I tell you, in the past, what they have done is they've sent them directly to town. That money goes to, into the, we always put it in, because this is not, it's the city Juneteenth program. But the monies that we raise for that, we always put it in the Juneteenth fund to have money to.
Right, but no, this is an event, a vendor who turned in an application and paid like the vendor fee. I don't.
I'll have Tanya give you a call. Tanya Arnett, she's over vendors this year.
Okay, well, because the city does not have a vendor fee, so that is what we need to decide if we are going to be collecting those fees, or do we need to direct them to the chamber? Because usually the chamber is responsible for any events and festivals within our community, and they have a $50 booth fee that they do collect for events. So I just need some clarification, because I did not realize we were having vendors at Juneteenth, so we were kind of confused by the application we received today.
I don't know, that's what we've always done. Ever since 4 years, 3 years ago, I've done it, I think we didn't do it last year because of COVID. The year before and the year before, I did it. And each time, any monies that were raised, like Vending went into the Albion. So I don't know what you want to do about that.
Okay, I guess, Colin, can we accept a fee when in an amount that we don't have anything in our fee schedule for?
No, I think you'd have to approve something.
So if we are looking to start accepting vendor fees, I can come back before council, but I think I would like to remain, that's the chamber duty and responsibility. So if we are having vendors, we can then pass that on to the chamber if that is what council is looking to do.
Now then, can the chamber put it in the council fund and into the Holland Park fund?
Well, it wouldn't go to Holland Park, it goes to a vendor, that's the vendor fee for coming in, putting up their booth and selling their items at this event. If they're making a donation to Holland Park, then that needs to be specified, but we received an application to hold a vendor, I can't think of.
Okay, just hold on to it, I have time.
Okay, there you go.
Ms. Mayor.
Councilwoman Waller.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Is there also a fee if you have a vendor truck on your private property? Do we know, Miss? We don't know? Okay.
That I haven't heard of.
Having any kind of food vendors on private property is something that's going to be eventually addressed in the mobile food vending ordinance, but at present, we don't have anything on the books about that.
So we don't have food trucks.
Well,
The
a
ordinance.
food truck can come to the city, we don't have any regulations for that. A private resident can have a private business come to their property, there's nothing like that.
Because we were looking for food trucks for Collins for the Juneteenth.
They are able to come, our mobile food vending ordinance is trying to add some regulations, but at present, it's I don't want to use the free for all, but food vendors. So they need a brand merchant's license through the clerk, but that's all we require.
Did that address your question, Councilwoman Waller?
She's no longer with us.
Okay.
There she is.
All right, future agenda items. Yes, Councilwoman.
I want to make sure that the brush that has been accumulating on city property is removed. So if that's a budget allocation or, you know, a presentation from the Department of Public Works about why that remains there, whatever the discrepancy is, I just want to make sure we don't. I've been getting a lot of concerns about wild animals, and you know, seeing those sites definitely is not helping the problem. So just making sure all the brush is removed that's been accumulated on the
I'm sorry, there wasn't a discussion item, should have been on the tree budget that did not get, I don't know, for some reason it's not that, it was pushed through in the system. Because we got discussed, so I don't know. That was just a technical error, because it was added to the agenda, so can we, I don't know if we need to make a motion.
You have that already done, yeah.
Okay, but it was inputted at this, I don't know, for some reason, it got pushed through, because I'm thinking that we're supposed to have.
I move to add tree and brush removals to the agenda tonight. It is the second and it is the majority.
Second.
Yeah.
Anybody repeating us?
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Reid. Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler. Lanu.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
It looks like she's back, she's just off camera, so it doesn't identify.
Okay. I know, I just had to remember the
It's been approved through, it was the first word that, and I don't have the final numbers on the. Sorry. I just, when she started talking about that, I looked at, just 1 second. Yes, please, because I know.
So some of this I'm gonna blame a little bit because in Patrick's absence. My guess is what the brush and stuff that you have seen could have been kind of postponed because he thought we were maxed out at the budget for tree removal, tree and brush removal. And actually, you know, again, we've got a lot of new people in new positions. One of the things that he wasn't aware of is historically the solid waste will share some of that cost. I mean, they'll have the labor, when the contractor cuts a tree down and does what they have to do, but then when it's hauled off, instead of charging that to the tree fund, the tree trimming fund, it costs to haul off, charge the solid waste. So we had a discussion last week, I guess it was, about the tree trimming budget. And when we shared that, we realized there's, once we get that corrected, there'll be about another 15,000 available in there in the fund for tree trimming general fund. And then in addition to that, because we're contracting everything out now, for the most part, with Rusty Four Farms, there was money budgeted for our guys and our equipment to do some of the tree trimming. So if we're not gonna use our guys, we can move some of that money within the tree trimming fund, so that it will also be available to pay the contractor. So we just kind of worked out last week that we do have some additional money there now that everybody's kind of on the same page, how that budget works. And I guess the question is, you know, everybody talks about all the trees all the time. So I guess the question is, you know, how much do we want to spend on it in any given year? I guess is the question.
And if I may, I apologize, I don't know why I did not push through and be included into your packet. So what Director Reid is referring to, we have $35,489 remaining available to utilize towards trees. However, when speaking to Director Miller, he really stressed the importance, because we are approaching the summer months as well as fall, when we do have a lot of thunderstorms, windstorms and snowstorms when we get into the later fall months, that it is important that we do have an emergency fund still within our tree services fund. So although that we have 35,000, we don't want to go ahead and completely deplete that, and then we get hit with a large thunderstorm or something that we don't have anything available to address the emergency situations that we are in. So if council feels that we do need an additional revenue within that fund, I guess we would need to, that's what we need to know. But right now, we do have left $35,489. He also did provide, today, it looks like 26 trees have been taken down, and they have ground down 59 stumps so far this year. So a lot of work has been done. It's just a matter of if council would like to put more into that, or.
To give you an idea, I think the last I looked at, we'd spent about 36,000 year to date on
Correct.
50-something stumps, trees that were.
Councilman Williamson.
So do we have an assessment within the city of like how much, like how many trees we have left that are critical? Like if the wrong storm comes through, you know, just anecdotally, like right across the street, this one tree was beautiful 5 years ago. It is now a death trap for me and my children at some point, although it's probably not as critical as some others. So I'm just wondering, internally, do we have, like she's looking scary, but do we have a critical, you know, are we done with our critical trees and on to the next level? What is it that we're doing right now? Because I actually, this is one of the things I wouldn't mind pulling money out of the general fund if it was actually gonna take care of some problems that are gonna save us money long term.
Right.
Because that's important, right? So anyway, I'd like to hear the answer.
I know for a fact that when Count Phillips was director, he did, he and some of the crew did do a set. Matter of fact, I believe Count 99% certain Count even had a, I don't remember where the individual's from, but it was a tree specialist that come out and had him do the assessment, and he did have a list. I can't speak to the, well, number one, like you said, you know, it can change from year to year, just, you know, a tree gets hit by lightning or weakened from wind or whatever. But also, I don't know if that list is readily available or not. I don't know if that's located that.
That would be a question for Director Miller, but I know, yes, that an inventory was put together. They have done an assessment of the city trees to start addressing some of the dead and dangerous.
And actually, when that individual came out, being that he was from the, you know, professional tree company, I think that was the same year that Kent actually contracted with them to take out, I don't remember how many trees, but they actually purchased the trees from the city because for the lumber. So the city, I do remember, got $18,000 that year. So unless have to pay someone else for once, we actually received $18,000 for this company that had the lumber from their logs.
Councilman Reid.
There is a city lot on the side of at my house. That there's a tree in the back, I had, Mrs. Lewis out, I had Patrick out. The tree is breaking down my fence, a piece of it broke off and just missed hitting the roof of the people's garage next to it. So they came and they picked up, cut that piece off that was hanging over by the garage of the lady next door. And they moved it, but they have not taken off the bottom part of the tree that was my fence. And I showed it to Patrick and Mrs. Loomis, so that, and it's all along, and that, it's a city lot that's got a thing of trees. And all of the trees are like dead and falling in because the guys came out and they thought that that was what they were supposed to pick up and not the tree that broke up at the top part. So, you know, on that lot, there's a lot of dead trees, but the right lot is owned by the city. So if you really think it.
For the next council meeting, would it be too much to ask for, and I want to hear my other colleagues say, I guess you can kind of nod or say yes, or, but would it be good to get an update on what trees are left, how much money may be needed to finish the job and to keep an emergency fund? Can we just, I guess this is the theme of my night tonight, like, let's just see some of these details and have it down on paper, that way we know what we're getting when we finally do spend some more money on this. I do think this, I know everyone gets nervous to start spending money. This is one of those important things that can save us money, save our insurance dollars, things like that. So I'm wondering if people want to hear that before you take any action on money.
I agree. I second.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All right, so we're done with,
Future.
future agenda items. Any other future agenda items? Yes, Councilwoman.
I asked about the lighting on the street that goes into, I'm sorry, Malleable, where the play is. Malleable,
No,
the lighting on.
she's supposed
Malleable.
to say something to.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen that, I was just wondering. Because I wrote down this on one light on that issue.
Mary, I have one. I know we discussed, I guess, city youth servicing calls, inquiries about the adult use recreational marijuana. I talked with both Mayor Pro Tem as well as Mayor Snyder on how we would like to proceed. So I will be bringing that forward to council's attention at the next meeting to kind of get a direction on, yes, we are going to move forward with this, or no, this is not something that we would like to, but we kind of keep getting calls and questions on what is council doing, what is council doing, and I think we need some direction from you all.
So, I just kind of like for it to be brought back because it was brought to my attention when I guess the First Amendment audit came through, the gentleman came through. Some questions that, you know, Kip's not here to ask, but let's ask him some questions about that flag that one of the officers are wearing.
I could actually speak to that. That was brought to my attention, and I asked Chief that all of those flags be removed from the uniforms immediately. That is not something that it's not a part of their uniforms, and they did not receive permission to grant that. So Chief has addressed that, and all of the blue line flags have been removed from our department's uniforms.
Those answers all my questions. Thank you so much.
Any other future agenda items? Yes, Councilwoman.
Street sweeper.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I went out and I cleaned along my sidewalks myself, the curb part. But I've had people in my precinct that's been asking about when the street sweeper was done. Some of them are not able to do what I know. But there's some that just say, well, yeah, street sweepers, why are they doing the street? Now, I asked Mrs. Lulu to take a ride with me because I was looking at some other streets. When mine kept on talking about their streets wasn't clean. I know mine hadn't been, so that's why I did my own. But I got out and drove around town and looked in different areas at the streets and what was done. And over on that side is really, really bad in clean. So can you tell me how do they do the streets? What do they do? And when do they do that?
Yep. The street sweeping schedule follows, similar to our snow removal. They hit all of the major, trunk line highways, then followed by the, major and then local streets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they didn't remove our snow either. So the snow didn't get done, and now, yeah, and it's very, you know, you can tell because that many leaves wouldn't still be there if snow hadn't even been done, because as they did the snow, they would put some of the leaves up and they did. And so the leaves are just piled out, you know, and really, I'm thinking that I watched Granger. In fact, one morning I just got in my car and I followed Granger. And I saw the way Granger went to get everybody's garbage. And it made a lot of sense because they came down this side of the street, then they went through that street, around that way, back up, and like that. They got a pattern of what to do in order to get everybody's garbage. And I'm just wondering why our sweeper and why our trucks in the wintertime don't get a plan like that so that they manage to get the taxpayer that lives off a main street stuff done.
So do we want that on the next agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other future agenda items?
Ms. Mayor, I'd like to call privilege, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
So Community Day of Service, I know it is something that we organized that will be coming up in September. So I just wanted to add that to the next agenda so that all of you can possibly look at areas within your precinct that could use attention. Also, if we could gather any groups and organizations that you think would be helpful in providing services during our Community Day of Service, we could definitely start working on that so that we have things in order. Okay.
What does that mean?
I don't know what specific date is, I know it's coming up in September. I believe it's like the weekend before Festival.
We have Festival this week?
That I don't know.
The chamber is having festival this week.
Okay.
Yep. And in fact, the chamber hired an interim director. I'm not really supposed to share all their news, but they do have an interim director. She's available. She just started, so everyone will be nice.
Is she have a name?
Yes, her name is Valerie Franson. And she's fantastic. And that board worked really hard to get her to come on board. She's being hired specifically to take care of some of the chamber business and make sure that we have an amazing festival for us. So it's not council member comment, so I was going to share some of that, but yes.
Any other future agenda items? Okay. So now we're at our city manager report. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, jumping in. Let's see if we have anybody else with some comments.
First we have, Matthew Johnson.
Good evening, council. I just wanted to jump on for a moment apropos of some conversation earlier in tonight's meeting and emphasize that the college will not be seeking any reimbursement for the contribution we are making to Holland Park.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments?
Looks like Garrett Brown.
Can you hear me? Okay, Garrett Brown, 1016 South Superior. Two comments. So there is an important election tomorrow. I don't know. I saw it in the city manager's comments or her report. So I'm sure she's going to discuss that, but I'm just kind of surprised. I didn't see anything from the so-called Community Leadership and Engagement Council about this, but I because it's so low key and it's not a standard general election, I'm wondering, has there been any discussion about what would happen if that were to fail tomorrow? Because that's my understanding, that's the funding that we use to partner with the Y. So it's kind of too late to do anything about it now, but I was just kind of surprised that and I know there are some state law limitations on what city officers can do relative to an election like that, but I'm just surprised that there wasn't a stronger push for that, because again, that's a designated fund that we use to fund recreational activities in our community. So that's the first comment. The second comment, there was a comment about vendors in the chamber. And if someone, maybe the city manager, can explain that during her report, I'm curious what that is, because I know the city has a fee schedule for different activities and stuff, rental fees for the parks, but I'm trying to figure out, because that's new to me, under what authority or what process would the chamber charge fees for a vendor to use a public space? I know, there's like a tourism bureau and those kinds of things with the county, but I wasn't familiar with any kind of law or regulation around that. So if someone could explain, again, if a vendor shows up at a Juneteenth celebration, why they'd have to pay a fee to the chamber for being a vendor. So thank you so much, council. Good night.
Looks like you have Gary Tompkins.
Representative Tompkins? Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Gary Tompkins, your Collin County Commissioner. I know it's late, so I will be as quick as I can be, which hopefully is good here. First and foremost, I want to talk real quickly about internet, broadband, high-speed internet in our area. We've had several meetings that have begun to be held at the county level to address what I would say, for the lack of a better term, is a broadband desert in Collin County, especially on the east side of the county, as most of you know. I've been participating in these meetings as the county will be voting this Thursday on creating a task force to address this problem, which includes myself and Commissioner Smith from the 3rd District to represent the county. And additionally, we'll be well represented on the east side of the county. We'll have also Dr. Raymond Barclay, the Chief Planning Officer of Albion College, and also the Village Manager of Homer Art Kale. So we'll be well represented on the east side of Collin County. We've also approved a membership agreement with Merit Network to conduct a study. Additionally, we've met with Branch County as a possible collaboration partner in this process. As many of you know, a lot of the federal funding that's being brought down or could potentially be brought down, they're looking for maybe a regional type process, and any collaboration partners is good. So just know that we're going to be working very hard as we move forward to address some of the very, very big lack of broadband and high-speed internet issues in Collin County. If you guys remember, on January 27th, myself, the prosecutor, the sheriff, and some township officials, some other officials, had a first, what I would call, substantive discussion on illegal dumping issues that continue to plague our areas. This is something that's been going on for 30 plus years. And finally, we've had to get something done to actually get some real progress. We developed both short and long-term action plans, and I am certainly pleased to say that on the short-term action plan standpoint, we did get some grant funding for our proposal. And once our equipment is purchased and taken care of, we're going to try to address this in some specific areas, which I'm not going to reveal, because I just want the illegal dumpers to know that we are going to be watching them and we'll be moving forward, because quite frankly, the time has ended itself in terms of seeing our beautiful land to be continually dumped on, and it's time to change that. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we're going to have a prosecution very soon, and then hopefully we'll start to deter some of that. Also, the Board of Commissioners will be conducting a special meeting on May 28th for a workshop regarding the American Rescue Plan Acts, the ARPA funds that obviously you guys know about as well, that will be coming shortly, and the best methods for those funds to be spent appropriately. So we want to make sure that Collin County is getting approximately $26 million in those ARPA funds, and we want to make sure that they're being spent appropriately. My monthly newsletter, most of you folks get that. If you don't, certainly give me an email, contact me if you want to be put on the discrete mailing list. On the newsletter this month, I talk about our Equalization Report that was approved by the County Board of Commissioners in April. And I want to point out just a few things relative to the city of Albion. One of the things I focused on was residential average market value per parcel in the 7th District. And actually the Albion city average is $59,837 per parcel, which is about a 10.4% increase from the previous year. and it is the second highest increase in the District 7 area. And over the past 6 years, Albion has seen close to a 45% increase in average market value per parcel. So at one time, Albion was rated at the very bottom in terms of market value per parcel. And with that 45% increase over the last 6 years, you've seen a lot of progress. So it's very positive, certainly for the city of Albion. Also, I also focus on the real and personal property taxable values as part of the Equalization Report. Albion saw an increase of about 3.16% in real taxable value. And if you look at that over a 6-year period, you've seen an increase of about 21.4%. Again, very positive news for the city of Albion. And also seen a 3.19% increase in personal property from the previous year. So what you can see from the Equalization Report is a lot of positive progress in terms of market value and property taxable value. So all good signs that Albion is certainly well on its way. And then finally, real quickly, I just would be remiss if I didn't mention having the honor over on April 30th to be able to stop by. Quite frankly, what I would say one of Albion's true gems is wishing Robert Holt an 103rd birthday, an absolutely wonderful gentleman that I got a chance to talk with for a few minutes. And I'm hoping one day to hopefully get his secret because if you can look that good at 103, boy, we got to know what the secret is. So anyway, again, happy birthday to Mr. Holt. And thank you all for listening this evening. And hopefully at some point in time, I'll get to see all of you very soon. So with that being said, take care. Have a good evening. Thank you.
No further comments.
Okay. City manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A copy of my report was included in the packet. Just want to highlight the May 4th special election. The special election is to renew the current recreation millage. The ballot language is to renew the levy of 2 mills for 3 years for the continued operation of the City of Albion Recreation Program. So that's from 2022 to 2024. Also, please note the permanent polling location change for precincts 2 and 3. The new location will be at the St. Paul Lutheran Church. That's at 100 Luther Boulevard. Reminders will be added to the city's website. Water shut-off reminder, just a reminder that we do have water shut-offs will resume on May 12th. The deadline to have half of the delinquent balance due was Monday, May 3rd, with the payment plan being in place for the remaining balance. We have provided flyers for us if you need assistance with all of the past due door hangers, as well as we provided all of them to council as well, and it is found on our website. If you do need assistance, please contact Lindsay within our utility billing department. The Ymca programs, they continue to be a success. The May program schedule can be found on the city's website, and I also received word that water aerobics will kick off this month. That schedule has been added to the website as well. A few of the summer programs, they started to release the flyers for that. The Howard Park Teen Camp will run July 5th through August 13th, Monday and Fridays from 1 to 3. I know that they are trying to finalize the graphics and flyers for some of the younger children's camp, but please stay tuned. I will send that out to everyone once it's become made available. The Albion River Trail Expansion Project, we have the pre-construction meeting last Wednesday, April 28th. Prep work for that project will begin the week of May 17th, which really includes the relocation of the consumer pole, with site work set to begin the end of May, early June. The minutes from that meeting are attached for your reference as well. This is very exciting because I know that project has been in the works for some time now, so we are happy to see that finally getting started. The new Marshall Public Albion Elementary School, I had the opportunity to, the Albion Community Leadership and Engagement Council and Kids at Hope Youth Program held a meeting last Wednesday, April 28th, to discuss the 3 proposed options. Myself, as well as Councilmember Clark, Reid, and Lenn attended that meeting. They just discussed the 3 options. I have received, Marshall Public Schools has agreed to provide City Hall with the following large displays of each of the proposed options so residents can view anytime they come into City Hall, as well as hard copies of the survey that is currently out there. We actually have received them this morning, so we do have them here at City Hall. So if you have any constituents who are interested to learn more, please encourage them to stop down at City Hall. They can complete their survey. We will provide that back to Marshall Public Schools. State Workshare Program. As an opportunity to kind of preserve the city savings, I've enrolled the non-union work group into the State Workshare Program. I have reduced their schedule by 20%, so that equals to 1 day. It's kind of an opportunity for the city to take advantage of the federal incentive that has been released with the most recent American Rescue Plan, which allows us to take advantage of the 300 incentive from unemployment, as well as it's just an opportunity for us to kind of reserve some funds within our general fund. We still are navigating through the COVID pandemic. Yes, right now we are anticipating over 800,000 to come. However, we have not received those funds, and there still are a lot of unknowns out there. So it's important for us to do everything in our powers to be fiscally responsible to make sure that we are just making sure we have a healthy general fund. With this program, will be enrolled through September 4th. And we are looking at roughly saving a little over $50,000 by doing this. I just want to know the county has been enrolled in this project since last year, and they remain to be enrolled through September 4th as well. So with this savings, it can cover the new AC unit. We have a lot of entryway improvements that we need to make here at City Hall, so it's just another avenue that we can kind of tackle some of those projects with. Community-wide cleanup, just as a reminder, as people are starting to do some of their spring cleaning, that has been scheduled for Saturday, June 26th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The drop-off locations are Ketchum and Harris Field. But I also want to remind everyone, under the current Granger contract, you could schedule to have one bulk item picked up from your home once a month. It happens on the last Friday of every month. You just need to call Granger ahead of time to get that scheduled, and they will send out a special truck to pick that up. So I just want to remind everyone out there that they do offer that service year-round, so you don't have to kind of hold on to your junk items until this bulk item cleanup. On the street lights, we're aware that a lot of street lights may not work, or if there are areas that need more street lights, you can contact the DPW office to report the pole number. They will then transfer that information over to consumers, or you can utilize the consumer's online report form. The link is available on our city's website. You just click on the link, you go in and you import the information on the area that needs their attention, and they will get out to get that taken care of for you. Just want to note that we submitted our application for the MDOT Category F grant application to resurface West Erie Street from South Albion Street to South Superior Street. The project will be awarded in December with 2023 completion. And then also we received notification that we were awarded a grant from the Albion Community Foundation from the Rotary Charitable Fund in the amount of $2,000 to be put towards the Highland Park transformation. So we do have an additional $2,000 to utilize for some of the outstanding projects. And I also provided you with an updated list of upcoming COVID vaccine clinics that will be happening in our area. If you have any residents or constituents who are interested, please encourage them to attend one of the upcoming clinics. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for City Manager? Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. Sarah. It's not a question, but I had somebody call Reid to pick up a bulk item, and I think they came up before 8 a.m. So just a warning, you know, in terms of your schedule, knowing when they're coming, they get out here, especially with the rain. That's just a word to the people.
They do provide, I will say they do provide specific instructions. You do have to have the item outside on the curb by 7 a.m. the day of pickup. So it is an early pickup, but as long as you have it scheduled and make them aware, they will come out and grab your stuff.
We're still currently on partial hours as far as coming in at 10 o'clock, correct?
Yes, ma'am, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So how long will that last?
Until right now, the remain as is, the rates within the county, they were on an increase. And so we're still trying to just be mindful of that and looking for the positivity rate to start to lower within our county. Then we will look at kind of changing our hours. But I will note all of the municipalities within Calhoun County are remaining to operate as is until we do see our positivity rate within the county kind of drop down.
So are they still being paid for the time that they're not in here, or are they working at home?
No, we are in the building 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our public hours are 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's when the public can come in. But we are here to answer by phone or email 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And with the workshop program, that will not change. Our hours of operation will stay. Just some people may not be here on certain days.
Okay.
Any other questions for City Manager Slater? Councilman Reid, did you have your hand up at the same time?
I was just gonna say, Granger does come. They picked up a dishwasher for me Friday, and they were there, they told me to have it out by 7:30, and I did.
And what do we do to get the boards and the surveys for the public schools? Are the boards down there?
We have not received the boards yet. I know they're working with the college to kind of get some of the large displays printed off, so they did not say anything else. But we do have the surveys, so if people are interested in taking them, please send them down to us. We will provide them with that survey to complete.
I can make the link that they, like, the survey that they provided, I can make that available on the website as well, so that we have the electronic and paper copies.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions for City Manager Snyder? No? Council members, comments? So kind of going along with what City Manager Snyder has given us in regards to vaccine clinics, the YMCA along with the county health department are trying to find locations for micro clinics that want to be able to get to people who may not have the means of transportation. So if any of you have any locations where you think a useful site could be set up, they would like to hear from us. Yes, Councilwoman. Okay, so they want to set up micro clinics to get vaccine in the arms. This Thursday, the Albion Ministerial Association will be holding a day of prayer service on the front steps of City Hall at 12 o'clock. So if anybody is available and would like to join, I highly encourage you all to join. We could all use prayer. Yes, we could all use. So, what was that? No, this Thursday at 12 p.m. 12 noon. Yes. And then, again, if we can all encourage our precincts to get out and vote tomorrow, in whatever way we can, that would be awesome. Great. Councilwoman Lenn.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. I just wanted to reiterate with this, this elementary school that, we spoke about, the survey. My understanding is that decisions will be made in terms of kind of some of the specific things that they're looking for from the survey, May 10th. So I just wanted to make it clear that that's not like a long period of time that they're collecting feedback, although that process could be ongoing. It's very important that our residents know that their input is important and has to be turned around quickly because decisions will be made about that.
I spoke with Vivian Davis and they are looking for individuals that will go around to door to share information about COVID shots and, clear up some thoughts or nervousness about people. And they're looking for reliable people and they're paying $15 an hour to do this. So if anybody is interested or knows somebody that needs some money, you contact Vivian Davis at
She's at the Albion Healthcare Heights.
Any other comments? Yes.
I just have one other, sorry. You will be receiving the email to determine a date. We will be receiving over $800,000 under the American Rescue Plan. With that, we would like to receive feedback on what. That's a large amount of money coming into our community. I think the best route would be maybe to have some work sessions or a study session to kind of work through how we would like to best utilize these funds. Please know we will receive half. We're expected to receive half at the end of May, early June. However, we're still waiting to see a finalized list on what those funds can be used for. But I think it would be best to come together and work to decide how we spend those funds together as a group. And we will have 3 years to utilize those funds. So please stay tuned for a doodle survey to determine that.
All right, any other comments? Okay, motion to adjourn.
support.
Senator Campbell?
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Reid. Jackson.
Yes.
Renell.
Yes.
Waller.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned, 10:02 p.m.